of an introduction. So, if you guys happen to be watching this on YouTube, whether you're here watching it live or on YouTube, thank you guys for hanging out. If you are on YouTube, like, subscribe, support me there as well. Obviously support me on Twitch. Look, I'm going to be trying to do the Late Night Wiilly podcast coming in every week or bi-weekly. Right now it's weekly and you'll love to see it. So if you guys want to be on, please just hit me in the Discord. It will be in the link in description. If you guys are watching this on Twitch, thanks for hanging out. It's going to be a little bit of, a little more low key, kind of more chat and stuff, getting to know the community a little bit here. And guys, give a warm welcome here. Get some clap and some applause. Warm welcome here to Daddy Gladsworth coming in. You'll love to see it. Gladsworth, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself here?
What's up, guys? My name is Gladsworth, and I'm the governor caller for Horizon, which I guess is probably where most people know me for. Previously Valid as well, if you are familiar with that in Kessel Steel. But yeah, that's it. Now I'm hanging out in Orfina.
Yeah, all right, so cool. And obviously, you guys know who I am. It's your boy. But Gladsworth, man, it's really good to actually kind of talk to you like this. I'm not going to lie. As long as I've been here in the community, I can say that you have been here in the community for a long time as well. And I think that one thing that people don't know is the ups and downs that you have kind of went through. You know what I mean? Like, you've been through a lot in the community here.
No downs, but
yeah. So I do want to ask, though, before we start talking, getting more into New World, and again, I don't want this to feel interview, a little more laid back, but I do want to say, I kind of want to get an idea, what was your gaming past? Because obviously you got a passion for gaming, man. And I think that's one thing I really want to talk to people about here. Like, where did it start,
I guess my gaming is a little interesting because I started RuneScape. That was my original game.
Hey, let's go, dude.
Yeah, RuneScape is the best.
Yo, when did you start RuneScape?
I started back when it was RuneScape 1. So before the
you're
main
OG
RuneScape.
with it, dude.
So I'm 29. I'm 29 years old.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I'm 27. Look, I'm getting there.
Hey, I love it. Yeah, I'm 29, so I actually picked up on it really early. I was in 5th grade, and then played RuneScape a bunch, and then got into Halo. Halo was my first introduction into trying to do things competitively.
Mm-hmm.
And then from then on, I was just pure FPS, just shooters. I never played any other MMOs, honestly. I was RuneScape into Halo, and then Halo into kind of a couple things, like Destiny was the main one I picked up then.
So you skipped you kind of skipped the World of Warcraft era. Like, you skipped the WoW and the EverQuest and kind of when MMOs kind of went from 2D, I guess RuneScape kind of was a 2D. You kind of skipped that. You just went straight to the shooters. I played a little bit about too, dude. Look, I was a Halo chap. What was your favorite game mode in Halo, man? I love SWAT. That was my shit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, everything. Halo is my favorite game of all time. Halo 3 specifically. Halo 2 probably would have been if it was just released after Halo 3. So I had
Halo 3 was so good, dude.
Yeah, it's favorite game of all time. It was incredible. SWAT was awesome. Slayer, Lone Wolves, Duos. Duos is probably my favorite, but
yeah, I think the cool thing about Halo 3 was all the modes were dope, right? You could play whether even when you got shit, I guess I'll run some objective. It's still good. It's still fun to play.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Halo's the absolute best, and I'm very big on playing one game at a time. And it's definitely not the healthy way to go about this. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I just kind of get on a game, I lock in, and that's the only thing I play. So when I played RuneScape, it was only RuneScape. Went to Halo, it was only Halo. Destiny for a bit, Fortnite for a little bit, and then it was Apex was my main game for a long time.
Apex was so good too. I play a little bit of Apex still, but God, dude, I remember when Apex first came out. Is that when you got into it, or was it a couple seasons in? Or
no, it was season 0. Season 0, hopping in.
I was right there too, man. I was like, yo, what the hell is this BR? It was so good, dude. Who's your character? Who do you main?
So when the game started, I was. So I played with the same trio basically my entire time with Apex. So I was Wraith in the beginning. So I was Wraith for the first 5 seasons or so because she was just broken. So I was just a Wraith crutch. After that, I went to Revenant for a little bit and then ended with Horizon. Actually not ended. Actually ended. Yeah, I was Horizon main for the last 3 seasons or so that I played Apex.
Bro, it was destiny, dude. It was fate.
It was. This is it.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you know what's funny, dude? I think there's like a weird trajectory with gamers, and especially like around our age too, bro. Like we start out in that like Halo sphere, and it's like something that we don't see nowadays. Like obviously, a lot of people I think pop around a lot. Like I don't, a lot of the younger generation, I feel like, which is look, it feels weird to say that, bro, but they pop around a lot. And like you said, you're more of like a single gamer kind of guy. I'm kind of like that too, man. Like I get a couple games, like 1, 2, maybe 3 if I'm feeling frisky, and I and I kind of stick to it. What kind of got you into New World, man?
I was watching, so I'm a big Dr. Lupo fan.
Okay.
For anybody who knows him, I watched him back when he had like single digit viewers when he was doing trials carries in Destiny. For some reason, I liked him, stayed with him. And yeah, I was just watching him one day and he was just playing New World on launch. I had never even heard of New World. And so I said, oh, this is pretty cool. This is kind of like RuneScape. It's the first MMO I've ever played since RuneScape. And I was like, this will be a fun game to kind of like mess around with. I'll still play Apex. Oh, also Valorant. I forgot. I skipped over Valorant, but I was pretty big into Valorant for a little bit. So I was like, I'll still play Apex and Valorant a little bit on, and just play New World on the side. I'll farm some trees, mine some rocks. And then I hopped in.
The ambience and shit for New World was so good though.
Oh, it was like awesome.
Even if you like PvP, like the mining and the rock hitting and stuff, like it's easy to get lost in New World, man.
Yeah, it really is. And it seemed really cool. And I said, screw it, I'm gonna give this a try. I hopped in and then I tweeted out, actually, it's I've never been more correct about anything in my entire life. And I tweeted out, I said, I'm an hour and a half into New World. And this game is going to ruin the next year of my life. I was an hour into this game and I knew what was going to happen. And here we are over a year and it's ruined my life.
It's still in control, bro. It's funny because, dude, I feel a lot of the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, because like I said this when I was kind of talking to Kilash, but I remember the same way. It was kind of a situation where like I played a lot of World of Warcraft at the time, and once I got into it, I thought the same thing. I started having started doing the same thing that I did when I like got into RuneScape, when I got into Halo, when I got into Gears of War. You know what I mean? Where it's like I started noticing all of a sudden I'm staying up at night. All of a sudden, I'm waking up early to play the damn game. Like, I don't know if you do that, but like, it was like, I'm setting timers to wake up and get on the mining routes. Like, I'm like, what's taking over me right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also,
no, it ruined my life. Yeah. I knew it would. It felt it right away. And here we are.
Yeah, and I see people, talking. I want to get to this too. You do streams as well. We've actually caught your POV in the past that people might not know about. So, dude, look, what do you stream? Are you currently streaming? What's your plans with that? What was your kind of ambition there? Because I remember actually shopcasting over a couple of your POVs in the past.
Yeah, I used to. I've been very bad about it, and I actually haven't streamed in a while. I haven't streamed since being in Horizon, being honest. It's been a couple months. I've been dropping the ball. I used to be in the content game. I was making a ton of content, some around New World, but and I liked streaming. It's so much fun. I need to get back into it because I do enjoy it. But it's honestly, I spend too much time like trying to figure everything out for this stupid game and like Horizon that I just have kind of put streaming and content creation on the back burner. So right now I don't stream anything, but if I were to stream, it would obviously exclusively be New World because I don't play anything else. It's like one game at a time, like I said. So it'd be New World.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. And I think that's one thing that like people don't know, that people don't really realize, especially when you're a streamer too. Like a lot of people ask me, they're like, Willy, why don't you make, why don't you make a company and try and fight, the big dogs and stuff? And it's like, dude, like, messing with a company in this game, people don't understand. Like the people who haven't been in leadership of a successful company do not understand the strength it takes, dude. Like, and how much time it really consumes.
It's a lot. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend like it's not. And I've been trying to do it the quote unquote right way, if you will. It's kind of like I say that often, or at least think that often. So like I'm trying to do it the right way, and it definitely is a lot. It's a full-time job, if I'm being completely honest. But it's fun. Yeah. I mean, tonight's war was one of the most fun wars I've ever been a part of. So like, dude, it makes it more fun. This interview is going to be better because we won that war, by the way.
Dude, yeah, well, yeah, not gonna lie. I mean, obviously, I was looking forward to the podcast, but But man, like I not even gonna lie. I was looking forward to it even more after that win tonight, dude. I know
yeah.
you were in the shits, dude. You were absolutely in the battle there. But like from my point of view, dude, I was losing it too. Like I think anybody who watched that war or was in that war, that adrenaline was going. Like dude, anybody who understands it, that was insane. That might have been the best war we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. No, I mean, I don't know how much we want to go into that war or not, but I mean, awesome.
Oh,
I'm
dude,
pumped
let's
West Match
talk
is here.
about it, man. I mean,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
fresh, dude. I mean, look, that shit's hype. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm like starting to calm down a little bit, like from this insane adrenaline rush. But it was
Dude,
awesome, man.
Dude,
It
what
was
were
so
the
much fun.
comms, bro? I bet the comms were fucking electric.
It's this, I would say, is probably the war where people would be able to see my comm style more than anything, like any other war. I am probably a different caller than most people, like in New World, I would say, where it's like, I don't know, I'm so big on, I don't need to micromanage these people. Like, they're the best players in New World. They're like, they know what they're doing. They don't need me to be calling out individuals and just micromanaging everything.
Yeah.
It's like, I just try
So
to,
like big picture kind of like you're more
yeah,
focused on like the absolute
yep.
like more big picture of things.
Yeah, it's just big picture. I try to stay super calm, I guess, if you will. Like, I'm never, like, if you watch, I almost never yell. Like, I'm basically never yelling in wars. Like, I'll get urgent and if we need or anything, but I mean, it's just so different. I know you had like Kilash on last time, and him and we could not be more opposite callers.
Yeah, it sounds
Not in a
like you
good or
guys
bad
are
way. Like,
polar
both work.
opposites though. Like we
Yeah,
talked to
both
Kilash,
completely work.
and everybody knows Kilash is like a hype beast. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like it works. Like it works for him, but it's like it's cool to see. And I think that's what's cool as hell about the game is like, you know, you're operating a top company over here, and it's like, and you have a totally different call style. You know, and I think that's cool.
Yep.
So you're more of like a laid back, kind of like chilling call style.
Yeah. I don't know, laid back because I'm like
You're in the shit still, but
Yeah, I'm in the shits for sure.
you're calm and
It's just-
collected, I guess.
Yes, yeah, that's the style that I try to go for. It's just very like, matter of fact, like cool. Like they rolled us on the points. Like, not gonna lie, they just beat the shit out of us on the points, and so that can go a lot of different ways. And the way I kind of view it is like, okay, that's fine. Like, just because that was negative, we can't let that parlay into another negative. Like, the war's not over. So I guess kind of where I got the stuff from, my background, I also coach basketball, or used to. And so I've coached college and high school. And I've noticed a lot of parallels with New World, because it's one of the things that I would always preach during that and during this too is like, you can't let one mistake parlay into a second mistake. So in basketball, if you turn the ball over, you can't go back on defense and like pout about it, and then you don't play defense and your guy scores. It's like, that's two mistakes now. It's like, you made a first mistake. It doesn't matter. Like, that's in the past. And so bringing it back to New World for this, like, they rolled us on like the points. And so, yes, that sucks. Yes, we have to work on that. Yes, we have to figure out what we need to do there. But we can't be down and negative, because we know our fort defense is great. And we know that their comp is incredible specifically for the points. And they do a great job in the fort too. But like, I have to do the best I can to try to keep everybody on board. Like, dude, like, I know that wasn't great. That's fine. But we're going to now just hold down the fort. It doesn't matter if 25 minutes. Okay. I mean, yes, I'd rather 23, 20, 15, but yeah.
Well, and I like that too, man, because like you said, you know, it's like you got to focus on what's the next objective, right? Like, there's no point in just thinking about, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. And it's like, you know what's funny, ironic, it's funny that you bring it up, because, you know, there was a lot of people when you guys lost those points very fast. A lot of people in my chat were like, "Oh, my Willy Bucks!" Like, a lot of people were already like,
they always are.
Yeah, I know, dude. A lot of people were like, "Oh no, dude, my Willy Bucks, they're going away. It looks like the attackers are, you know, they're gonna beat them convincingly. You know, another cosmic situation." And it's like, you know, it's funny that you bring that up. You know, having a person that can be like that is very important, man. You know, it's like keeping that momentum. You know, you can't let them have the momentum. You know, as soon as you start letting them have the momentum, then it's definitely over. You know, like if you just let them have it, It's gonna be GG, dude.
It is. Yeah, I mean the Willy Bucks thing is fun. I mean, I think over the months, I think I've been a part of through Valid and Horizon. I think I've won a lot of people a lot of Willy Bucks. So when we do lose anytime, it's like at the end of the day, I think you're still pretty net positive. So we'll take it from there. But I love it. I love one of my favorite things. I made this joke the other day, but of like I love some people wake up and they like start working out right away. Some people like get their day, like start their day with coffee or whatever. I just wake up, get myself a nice little coffee. I hop on, pull up a Willy stream of a Horizon War,
Oh, hey,
and I
thanks,
just
man.
love watching everybody freak out in the chat of all the people who bet against us, and I just fuels me for the day. Really, it just gets me going.
Yeah, it's funny too because I feel like Horizon is a company. It's like no matter now, maybe I'm wrong on this, and maybe you can clarify this because it's a feeling I get, and maybe it's just me. So don't eviscerate Gladsworth because this is how I feel. I feel like Horizon's in one of these weird situations. No matter how good you guys do, it's almost like people still count you guys out. Do you feel that way, or is that just me?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way, but I think I get it. Like, I understand. Something I kind of had to do about 2 months ago, honestly, was I had to realize that nobody knows what's happening, like in Horizon. Basically, 95% of the stuff that people see in your stream, in wars, like, they just don't actually know. And so it used to upset me, and now it doesn't anymore because it's like I just don't care because nobody knows what's going on.
Well, you also got the record to kind of prove it at this point, and I think even and tonight even backs that up. I mean, I feel like people would be silly if they were like, coming at Horizon. I feel like it'd be kind of like
it's because we do things a little differently, and that I will always bring a roster that I think can win, but I will also always bring a roster to get people into wars that there is no benefit to. Let's say a not ideal company declares on us. I have a couple options. I can bring our absolute best roster, what I think is going to be the best thing forward, and we can shit on that company. That is one of the options. So then there's three options actually. One is that. Two is I bring a roster that I think can beat that company for sure, but get people practice, work on different comps, work on different things. We test things. And then the third option is something that we used to do a lot of when Orofino was struggling more. This is, I think, one of the single best things that we did in Horizon early on was that whenever we were hard winning wars, I would do things in practice to pull people off of fights. So we would give points, whatever. And then if they would send people at C point, if it's the last point, I would pull groups off and I would make them stand on the top of the fort because now we're fighting 40 versus 50, 35 versus 50, 30 versus 50. So it's like where I'm trying to find that break point in our army because if we send all of our 50, we're going to beat this company by a lot. And it's not going to help anything. It's not going to help them. It's not going to help us. They're not going to have fun. We're not going to have fun. We're not going to get better. There's literally zero positives of that. Yeah. And I've never seen any company do anything other than just beat other companies a lot. And so I would just pull people off and try to find that break point. So now their 50 starts beating our 25, of course. So then the point is now cluttered. We send people off the walls and chase. So we have to work on retaking points. So we're working on fighting outnumbered. We're working on hard playing with your group because you're outnumbered. And now we're working on retaking points when we're getting a spawn wave and they have great control, not like stopping and fighting people by the doors. So it's like, that's kind of like the core of what Horizon was and what it is. And so that is why I'm totally fine with people wanting to, like, I don't know, if they want to talk shit about Horizon or whatever, that's fine. Because I'm playing this like the long game. This is supposed to be a sustainable company, and it's
you're
built
building
from
a
day
community,
one to be this.
Like, that's how you build a community. I mean, I think you push people away by not doing things like that, right? Like, I feel like if you build your company based off of like absolute PvP demons, as soon as you start to falter, those demons are going to start looking for other options. And the thing is, if you can make your company PvP demons, if you can, train them and build them into PvP demons, that's the difference. You know what I mean? I feel like that is where you start actually creating that kind of environment.
Yeah. And this game, I don't know if people are going to be offended by this or not, but this game is not hard.
It's a 3-button MMO,
Yeah, I mean, like, I know there's like memes about this game, but in general, this game is so much more about game IQ and game sense and experience. And that is something that has snowballed where people would get in wars and then they would do well, which means since they did well, they'll get in more wars. So the more wars they get, the more experience they get, which means they're better, which means they do better. And then they get in other wars. This is just a rich get richer game. So there's a lot of people in this game who have only been in, I don't know, 20 wars, but they maybe would be one of the best had they just gotten the experience. And so it's like just trying to find those things. This is not a, oh, you did well on the leaderboard, so you're just going to get slotted. Like, I don't, this company probably hates me for this. We don't, not a single leaderboard gets posted from anyone.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Ever.
That's crazy. You guys don't post
And
any leaderboards at all?
No, because when I was running Valid, it was
soldiers, man.
It was one of the single biggest negatives of Valid at the time. And like honestly, like the main reason why I stepped down and left was because of that. It was becoming, I could feel the culture changing to being stats focused, and this game has nothing to do with stats. It just doesn't. If you look at leaderboards at the end and you take anything away from it, you don't understand this game. Like, you actually do not understand anything about what it takes to be successful in this game. If you look at the leaderboard and determine who's good and bad out of it, you just don't get it. And that's fine. Most people don't.
I do want your opinion on this, because I obviously have an opinion myself. But so with that being said, what do you think about the companies that get a lot of wars? Like, for instance, like, no offense, I'm not trying to call out anybody, but like, for instance, Pioneers of Conquest tonight, you know, they've been in so many attacks. They've been in so many of these. And it's like, what do you think about the companies that get the content and get the wars, but can't seem to like get past that? You know, they have this barrier where it's like, they just can't ever seem to get to that point. Cause I've seen them a lot, you know, like, what do you think about that, man? Like, what are they doing wrong?
I think it's a couple things. Obviously, I don't know them or other ones, but the biggest, I guess, like advice, if you will, for smaller companies is that you should be bringing mercs into wars only if you have a plan for what you will do if you win that war. So what I mean is, and especially right now, you can attack, you can bring 25 mercs. So the downside of that is you don't have your company members in, but the upside is that you will potentially win the war, which is great. People are happy, you get money. But if you're just going to do that to immediately just lose the next time you get attacked, that's bad. So it's like, you have to use mercs to get you a territory, which will now give your company more wars. So you have to have this plan. And too many people rely on mercs without building up their own army. And mercs are great. I'm not anti-mercs. It's fine.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they are not a part of your company. And so you have to, if you have to look at that standby, and there's a merc and there's an in-company person, and if it's at all close to a coin flip, you should never bring the merc into that roster.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you just long-term aren't helping your company.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Biggest thing I see people do wrong.
Yeah, it's funny too, because there's a lot of people that that kind of come into my stream, and they're like, "Oh, this roster's insanely merked for, you know, let's say a company that we haven't really heard of, right?" And I'm like, okay, so, you know, it's like, who's going to be calling for this? You know, like, who's, you know, it's like, just because they have like an insane amount of mercs doesn't mean, you know, you need that coordination. And I love what you said earlier when you talked about, you know, how this game is a lot more about coordination. We talk about soldiers on the stream and stuff, and I think that's true as hell. Like, I would much rather have somebody who might not be, you know, max gear score and stuff, but at least he's listening to the comms. He's going to listen to my play, you know, like he's, you know, because it's like, that's how you mold and improve as, you know, as a company member, as a soldier in the war. You know, you don't want that guy who's like, man, I just need to be hitting people as much as possible. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. I got to be on the top of that leaderboard, and I can think it kind of brings it around to that. You know, it just looks really good. So, you know, I think that maybe that is why Horizon seems to be on top at the moment. And how's Orofina been, man? How's Orofina been compared to COS? Because I know you were in COS for a while. That's where I first caught you, man, was in COS days. So it's really, also, I just want to say, it's really cool to be chatting with you, dude. Much love.
Yeah,
again, it's not like an interview for me. You know, it is more personal. You know, it's like, it really is really badass to be talking to some of the absolute chads. You know, I just like this because it's like, it gets a little face off me and puts more on you guys. You know, that's part of it. You know, you've been doing so much for the community, whether people know it or not, and obviously for your company now. So how does it feel though for COS, you know, compared to COS and Orofina?
It feels pretty similar, if I'm being completely honest. The now at this point, where the peak of COS was some of the most fun I've had. Back when, obviously, I was invalid and blokes were there, Boogaflu, and I guess it's probably before.
Was it
or I guess
before the
during.
onslaught of Marama? Yeah.
When Copium came, that was very fun. That was probably, I think maybe to this day, it's my like top one night of New World.
God,
Was
I remember that, man.
we defended we had two 24-minute fort fights, and we held both against Copium and then blokes back to back. And that was, I think, I maybe like top one. But yeah, I mean, that Just Business, Biggest Black Flag.
Who were you?
I'm sure
What
I'm
company
missing
were
some
you in at
companies
the time? Not to interrupt you, but what company were you in at the time?
Oh, I was valid 100 the whole
Valid.
time.
Okay, yeah, I was just making sure
Yeah.
because people might not know that, you know, like because I know that obviously we're in different companies now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in pretty much 3 companies. My whole time in New World I was on City of Brass where I started, or kind of started. Started a company called Raindrops, and then we got merged into City of Brass. And then we kind of merged a couple companies from City of Brass into one company, and that became Valid. So that's how Valid started. It was, if people remember at the very beginning of City of Brass, or Castle of Steel, sorry, I was in Raindrops. There was another company called Pad Patrol, another company called First Battalion, and that's pretty much it. And then we kind of all merged because we needed to. We were all too small on our own. And so now, so then, yeah, we joined Valid. And so I guess at the time, I was the governor and caller of Valid for the pretty much entire time I was in Valid up until Horizon, pretty much.
Really, that's crazy. And you know what's funny? I remember COS being so much fun, man. Because like a lot of people were telling me like, Wiilly, dude, you got to catch COS. And I went over there, and dude, I just started catching like blokes, and you know, I already kind of knew a little bit of Just Business at the time, and it's funny. That's when I started catching Valid. You know, like.
Yep.
Valid kind of started telling people were like, yo, this company Valid mercs pretty heavy and they're working really well with Just Business over here. And I was like, you know, I think you guys owned Ebonscale at the time, right? I think you guys owned Ebonscale and something else. And
yeah, Eben and Weavers.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, Valid, you know, who are they? And I started kind of reaching out, and MJB, shout out MJB. I know he's in the chat right now, but MJB was one of the first people that was really like, Wiilly, these Valid people, you gotta catch them. You know, and it was pretty cool to see. And, you know, it was just really cool to see that, I don't know, Valid as a company was doing good things. And so, and obviously, you know, you guys holding it down. So what was the transition to Orofina like? You know, when you came to Orofina, were you like, man, I'm going to assemble the fucking Avengers? Like, because like right now you're there, you know what I mean? Like, what was what was the ambition coming to Orofina? What was the original goal, dude?
So actually, funny enough, I'd stepped down from Valid, and I was kind of stepping away from leadership, like in this game, if you will. And one of my friends was gonna do it, and he was gonna start a company on Orofina, and I was gonna be like a consultant in the shadows, if you will. And I didn't really have any interest in being governor. Again, I was like, you know what, like I had my time with like Valid. It was great. I loved it. And so then I was a settler, not really doing too much. And then after a little bit, so he was the governor of Horizon for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe like a month. And he then got a job and left. And so then it kind of, I think he just tricked me into this. I think it was the long play the whole time, was like, all right, we'll get Glads over here. Yeah, I think I just got baited. So then I was like, all right, like I guess I'll do this. And then, yeah, I mean, we started and we were obviously smaller, and little by little built up. I think we've gotten a ton of people just over the relationships that we've all built. And I think so much of this is just relationship management, honestly. And then people want to play against good competition, and then people want to be in good non-toxic companies. So they want to be part of good competition. Like, no good players want to go to a company where they're going to get farmed, and no good player wants to go to where it's like just a very, very toxic environment. Well, most people don't, I guess. And and so that's just kind of slowly built over time. I was saying this earlier. one of the things I'm probably the most like proud of, I guess, for like from my end, is I've never sent a single DM trying to recruit somebody, and I never will. And I'm never gonna try and buy somebody. I'm never gonna try to poach people from other companies. I'll never do that. People DM me and I tell them no. Like there's just not a point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. It's like I don't want. That's not in my mind. That's not how you can build a company. Like I want to build this, like I said, sustainably, long term. I have no interest in trying to like hard poach people. I know other companies do, and that's fine, and they do great. I don't care, but I don't know. I just have no interest in being.
Yeah, you
in
don't
a
want to be a
company
part of that
that does
environment,
that.
and you don't want to be associated with it. And I don't blame you. Like whenever I was a company leader, and I was going heavy on like owning Everfall, Windsward, things like that. Like whenever I was at kind of like, the peak of the competition, a lot of people were doing that to my players. Like they came to me and they're like, yo, this company's trying to, recruit this guy. We should do the back. And I'm like, nah, man. Like, I'm kind of like similar to you, I'm like, let them talk their stuff, let them talk their shit. It is what it is. I kind of agree with that. But I will say, I think Horizon had a bit of a slow burn. Like I remember whenever Horizon started getting formed, at least from my point of view, I wasn't there. It was like right after Egode kind of like destroyed the server. Like Egode completely took over Orofina. And it was like after that, I started having people come into my chat, and they were like, "Yo, Horizon, Orofina," because it would be brought up. We're talking about Orofina, and they're like, "Horizon on top. Horizon's owning everything on Orofina. Horizon is the new, the new guys on the server that's kind of making it happen." And that's kind of the first introduction I started getting to Horizon. Like people started coming to my chat. It was like after that Egode, once Ego kind of left, it was like Horizon kind of started getting born. And that was kind of the slow burn there. That was somebody said in the chat. That was Yuri. Look, shout out Merc Yuri too. Look, he is. I say, look, Yuri is the ambassador of Orofina. I'll say that here too.
He is.
He is the ambassador.
It's Captain Orofina.
For sure. But it's kind of cool to see. But I want to get back to I want to get back to the war that happened tonight, because kind of talking about that West Coast and East Coast. We kind of talked about it for a second, but man, what do you think about the West Coast, man? What do you think about them? I mean, especially after fighting them, what is kind of like your takeaway? Like, well, how do these guys play different? Like, because obviously I got my opinions and look on it, but like how is it different from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that war was like not that close. Wasn't like stressful. It wasn't anything. I mean, these guys are awesome. It's cool fighting people who play for at least most of their time here have played in a different meta, at least slightly different. Like I always think the meta changes, like talk is probably just overblown. Like people's like EU meta, NA meta. It's like, I don't know. There's a couple things different. For the most part, everyone's running the same stuff though. Like I think these guys they run a different comp. If you want to call that all of West Coast has a different meta, like I guess you could, sure. But I think it's more of, I mean, it's the same like.
What kind of comp do you think they run? Like, what's different than like, what I mean,
well,
from what you've seen?
It's the same style that Dropouts does, like in their NA. I know they were West and stuff, but yeah, I mean, they run double dive with a Dex group with them, and it's like a 15-man kill group. So they're very big on light firepower. They win points and fights and wars from outside in approach. And a lot of companies on NA East do that, and EU. So I don't think it's anything like insane. It's not like we haven't seen anything like it before. That's just their style. And I think it plays into like they're just very good at that. So they're going to run what they're best at. Like if you did their exact comp, but you have bad players, like it just won't go well. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
because
that's how
meta.
because that's how they've been raised in it. You know what I mean? Like that's what they've kind of practiced. So it just makes sense that that's what they're versed in. What do you think of what they said? Like we obviously caught an interview with Kier tonight. I don't know if you caught it, but he did say something along the lines of that their kill squads are like substantially better. You know what I mean? And they said that they will be taking Everfall. So like I don't know, what do you got to say to that? Like
that they're substantially better than Horizons?
Yeah, they said that their kill squad was like, way better than Horizon's kill squad, and that it shows.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, it's just a different comp. Like they run they basically run triple dive, like 3 kill groups. So yes, 3 kill groups are going to be better than 1 kill group. Like that's, I mean, yeah. Like I'll take our kill group. I think our kill group is insane. I think we have insane players all the way around, but yes, a 15 man will beat a 5 man every time, and our 45 are better than their 35. And that's not like a anti them thing. It's just we have more bodies than them. So it's like,
It's
yeah,
yeah,
they're,
it's the way you guys have built the roster.
yeah,
You know, like and that thing is funny because a lot of people don't realize how important roster building is. And like actually like when it comes to slotting certain kind of players in certain kind of builds, a lot of people underestimate that shit. It's hard for me cuz obviously I'm more big picture. Like dude, I'll just be honest. Like when I'm casting and stuff, I'm more big picture. I don't have I can't go into those details, but you know, it's like it's kind of hard to get into that stuff when a big war is going down. But you know, that's something that people don't think of. And I know that you're probably a mastermind with that shit.
I love it. I love it.
It's not like your favorite part because like I'm not gonna lie, dude. You look like you got really excited when we started talking about rostering and builds.
Yeah. It's because I think it matters so much. And going back to like the advice for like lower end companies, that is a big one. It's like pay attention to it. It matters of who wants to play with who, like put them together. And people like if someone doesn't like being on a point team, don't put them there. Like it's just so simple. And I actually don't understand how people don't understand this. It's just put people in the best position possible to succeed. And overall, every player, every group, every army, every war is going to be better off for it. And so it's, yeah, I said, I guess like 2 weeks ago when you interviewed me after one of our wars, I made a comment that most wars are won ahead of time.
Yeah, I remember.
And then you just going into the war, I don't care. It's just like a predetermined outcome that is we've already done this before. It's like based on us getting better, based on me putting our guys in the best position to succeed. Like all those things are done ahead of time. The war, it's only those last little bits that matter. Like when you're insanely close comp wise. So like tonight was a war that was determined by the war.
Seconds too. So
yeah.
It was
most
crazy.
wars aren't. Yeah. That's the roster building ahead of time is a part of that. It's not all of it, but it's a big part of it. It's like, just focus on that stuff. Like all the things you can control. It's like, just dominate those. Like screw the other team. It doesn't matter. Just do what you can control. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah. I think that kind of comes with your coaching too, man. You know, like kind of your coaching background, you know, like just focused up super heavy on like what you can control and what's out of your control, because especially in like the coaching fields and stuff, like you said, what NBA or like college basketball and stuff, right?
Yeah, not quite NBA. But, yeah, I did some college and mostly high school though.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that is like super true, right? And I think that's what makes a good caller too. But Van, I'm not gonna lie, was there any part where you felt like you know, like your team was kind of panicking a little? Because I'm not gonna lie, man, dude, for 18 minutes straight almost inside that fort, that point was going up and down. Like, dude, attackers were in that.
Yeah, no, I don't think we panicked at all. And I think that's just based on the culture that we've built here. No, I don't really think anybody panicked. I mean, maybe people did inside their microcoms that I didn't hear or see, but I mean, nothing in main comms would obviously be any panic. And we knew what was to expect. It's not like this was something we didn't know. We knew that they were gonna, like, I guess their general style of how they play. Mm-hmm. And we knew what we were gonna do ahead of time. This is honestly maybe the war that I've done the most prep for, and definitely in a very long time.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all, man. Were you surprised by how fast Cosmic lost to him?
Yeah. I do think West Bench is right now better than Cosmic, and I don't mean that in a negative way, because I think they're also better than like all but I don't know 4 companies in New World. So no, I mean, I was definitely a little surprised it went that fast. I wasn't too surprised because the first attack they had against them went well, and then they brought in more people, and then it looked like they just played their game plan and executed it perfectly. It honestly looked like it was just a very well executed war against Cosmics, what it seemed like.
Yeah, I do gotta ask tonight. You don't gotta tell me who specifically, man. But like, I want to hear your opinion on it too. But man, I don't know about you, but Bob the Builder. I don't know I don't know if it's a specific person, what it is, but I think Bob the Builder came in hella clutch tonight, and I kind of am curious about your opinion on like what builds are, what do you think about like gates being built up in wars? Like how important is that? Because I feel like sometimes I think I prioritize gates. I think gates going up is very, very strong as long as it can be at the same time. I know, see somebody said don't leak Bob, but you don't have to give me a name, but what do you think about that? Like what's your opinion on builds and the performance tonight coming from your squad for that?
Yeah, so we just have our dive team do all the repairs. So we just have them do everything. But no, I'm just kidding. They don't. But I can't give names. If you want to watch names, you got to watch our VODs. It's not too hard. You can see people who's doing
Of course,
it. But
of course.
it's no, I mean it's important. It's just one of the many like aspects about defense. I don't think it's the end all be all. I do think it can really help, but there's so many things to it. It's if people get up top on walls, it's like you have to clear them, but you can't overcommit to that. Mm-hmm. And then if people get in the fort, you have to clear them, but you can't overcommit to that. You have to stop people at the gates, but you can't overcommit to that because then you're not killing people in there. You have to get gates up. You have to blow horns. You have to keep buying things. You have to get like all of the like buy stations and repair parts like repaired and back up so people can get things. You have to clear point when they're putting pressure, but you can't do too much. So I'm saying all these things because there's just so many aspects of this, and I think they're all maybe not equally as important, but they're all just so important. And repairing is obviously crucial. It's huge, but it's one of the things, like if we have the best repair team in the world, but we're shit at everything else, like we're going to lose.
Of course. Yeah.
And if we have the best everything, but we don't know how to repair or clear points, like we'll lose. So you just kind of have to a little bit of everything. It's one of the things, obviously, we've been trying to get better at.
Yeah. And I think it's funny. You said something there about you have to know when to commit and not to commit, and like when you're overextending and when you're not. I actually remember a exact point tonight. Tommy T. I was shoutcasting over Tommy T tonight. And for one, shout out Tommy T. Dude's an absolute Chad. I say it all the time. But I was shoutcasting over Tommy T, and it was in the last, I think it was around 6 minutes whenever I was casting over him. And they were making a push up the stairs. And like you said, you want to clear off the walls, but you have to know when you're overcommitting and when to like pull it back. And right there, I remember a play. He started making his way up the wall with his squad. And then he immediately, I saw he was committing, and then he jumped right off the walls. And I don't know, maybe that's a call from you or stuff, or maybe that's just how you've trained your squad there. But I think that was very smart, because if you overcommit to that top, then you never know. You might line of sight your healer, you might do things like that. And I just think like, I remember seeing that, I was like, damn, like this dude, like the plays right now, the comms are very important, man.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of goes back to I hate to like repeat the same stuff, but that was something we talked about ahead of time, and like that was done pre-war. And then shout out to him and his group for doing that, because no, that's not a comp from me. That's just him and that group having a feel and just having that game sense to not overcommit going up there. So like I obviously haven't seen that play or anything moment yet, but good for them. That I mean obviously that is the right play to not hard do that. And so it's great. And that's what I mean by like you just have to trust your guys too. Like there's 100%. No point in me trying to micromanage some of the best players in New World. Like they know what they're doing better than I do. So
I feel that. I think that's one thing too. Whenever I cast people and stuff, I don't try to over critique people as well, because like I'm very aware that these guys are very good. You know what I mean? Like most of the people I catch and the companies I catch are very fucking good. The last thing I want is somebody being like, man, Wiilly's over critiquing. This dude hasn't been in a war in forever. You know what I mean? Because somebody could say that shit, like I get it. Like I'm not, I'm not tone deaf. I understand. So it's like, I do get it. And that's why I try and shout out, even whenever some people get in the chat, they're like, man, this guy's trolling. What's he doing? It's like, man, let's get your VOD out here. Let's shoutcast over you.
Everybody wants to critique VODs until theirs is shown.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's kind of a weird thing too. Like I remember even whenever I was company leading and stuff, like people, the VOD reviews and stuff, like everybody wanted to do like a VOD review and stuff. But like as soon it was time for their VOD and stuff, it was like, whoa, hold up, dude. We can't do my VOD. I was lagging here. It's like, come on, man. Like it's, your time to shine, you know? Like, I just remember that. I just remember that being so common. I wonder if that's still a thing. I obviously haven't done that in a second, but yeah, I just remember that being so huge. Everybody wanted to like, yeah, let's VOD review. And then it was time for their VOD reviews, and it was like,
never mind.
I don't know. Look, man, my dog was distracting me the whole war.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's very interesting.
My dog closed my OBS. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, dude, my wife, I gotta go catch my goldfish. He's loose, man. I can't, yeah, it's just interesting to see, man. I think it's funny. I do want to talk though, like, what do you think about, because obviously you're so heavy into the wars, dude. Like you are, war poppy.
Too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like kind of makes me wonder, like, what do you think about the direction that the wars have went? What's your opinions on the cooldowns and shit? Like the war cooldowns, things like that. Cause like, I feel like you would have a big one, and I think an important opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have a lot of thoughts here. I think a couple with the newest changes in this may be like unpopular. In general, I think it's good. I do wish that it was, I think my tweak would be 2 wars per day, not 1+1. Mm-hmm. I think that would help a lot of things. It would also, I would like for it to work, would be, I guess, the first part is like making sure if you do a defense that it doesn't like also burn your attack cooldown. So I guess that's the first
I've
part.
heard
No,
that,
like,
but some people say it's not doing that anymore, but I don't know if it still is.
It does a little bit, and there's ways to get around it and stuff.
Yeah.
But in general, so I would
It
love
should just work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the so yeah, 2 wars, not 1+1 would be like my only little change. But in general, I do think it's good. I probably have a pretty unpopular opinion, especially for the people who are listening to this, who I imagine are pretty heavy into PvP. I think New World or AGS made a absolute massive mistake when they started this game, and it never has or will ever let the PvP in this game do well on a large scale. And that is the ability to have alt accounts.
Okay.
I am someone who benefits from having an alt account. My Orfina character is an alt account. Mm-hmm. I just created another alt account. I'm someone who absolutely benefits from it. However, I'm able to separate those things and say, I can benefit from this, and this is also very bad for the game. Because what happens is it's the same 250 people on every server in every war. That's pretty much what it is, and that is not good, because that means that this game will die. Yeah. Because it's the same people. So as soon as I get sick of this game, that's one of the 250 who are gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
once somebody else does, they're gone.
Well, and also to your point, man, and I'm not gonna lie, I bet you influence a lot of people that you war with to play the game. People are always like, oh, Wiilly comes in, saves New World, but what happens if Gladsworth quits? Then maybe it's a trickle effect. I'm sure somebody could try to take the spot and stuff, but you might be having like real people and connections that you've built that people might be like, well, fuck, Glad's done, I'm fucking done, I'm out of here. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, maybe, but yeah, it's just in general, it's like if you're a new player coming into New World, you don't stand a chance. And it's not your fault, but you just don't. Like, you're going to queue up against, like, let's just say Horizon. Almost every person in Horizon has been in, I don't know, 300 plus wars. Like, you're going to go, like, you're going to queue up. I'm going to create a new character. I just learned this game. They just did a free weekend. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm a new person, queue up New World, heard some good things. And I level my character, and I queue up, and I get in a war, and I'm going against handsome blokes. Like, you just have no chance.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because all of us are everywhere. So it's like people have characters on Castle and Orfina. And it's like now you can just have even more characters. So let alone buying accounts and having extras. How many people do the top players? How many accounts do they have? They're on 6 different servers. And again, this is like, I'm not shitting on alts. I am an alt account, like on Orfina. Like I'm benefiting greatly. There are alt accounts in Horizon who we benefit from. So like I'm not against it. It's fine. I think it's the single biggest mistake that AGS ever did when it comes to PvP in this game, though. And it will never let the PvP scene grow to where it's a healthy amount. So we're just in this small bubble, and it's fun, and it's chaotic. But
it's us.
Unless some drastic things happen, it will burst.
Yeah, well, and obviously that's not good for me, but but it's a
All right.
good. But hey, look how it
You know, I'm trying to be
goes.
too negative here,
Hey,
by the
no,
way.
no, no. Hey, look how it
I'll go
goes.
positive again.
No. It's good to talk like that because that's the reality. Hell, I'm starting to see more people starting to catch that vibe again, and that's just real talk. More people are starting to catch that vibe that we had a few months ago. Obviously, Brimstone patch getting a little old at this point. I know it just came out. But we are kind of running into that situation where at least in the war scene, people are starting to feel that, the alt accounts and stuff. I remember even back when we were at our like 10K peak and people were coming in the chat like, oh, it's the same people in the wars. And it's like, objectively at that time you could be like, oh, well, shit, barely anybody's playing the game anymore. But we're at a point where we have the chance to get a lot of people in the population coming back into PvP. So it's like, I agree with you, man. And I've had that stance somewhat too, in the sense of like, I want to see new companies. And that's why, like, even whenever I'm on stream, dude, like, I'm out here trying to stop people from trashing new companies as well. Like, dude, I caught a war the other day, and it was like a new company fighting somebody who was established. They had, it was declared actually. I'll just say it was Matador versus Declared. And dude, I got nothing but love for the people who come in my streams and stuff. But I was a little upset that they were shitting all over Matador. Not everyone, but some of them. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like, let's not gatekeep more than what New World's already doing to us. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to try and gatekeep these guys, and not just because like, oh, it's good for my stream. No, like, dude, it's good for the community. You know what I mean? Like, it's good for the community. And it just sucks to see that we're still in a situation where new players are just kind of like, they just don't want to war. They just feel like they can't get out there.
It's tough because you see it in every game. The top 1%, like, competitive side, they think they know what is best for the game, but they don't. So it's like the best games take the feedback from the top 1%, the PvP like competitive side. They take that feedback and they like filter it, and then they can implement some of those things, because what happens in that 1% doesn't affect the other 99. And now you can't only listen to people who are doing like, because you need both PvP and PvE in this game. So if I'm farming dungeons and I get a Rezel Shrinking Fort freedom piece, I get to sell that for a ton of money because PvP exists. And then if I'm going to warlog, I get to just log in and buy a random piece because the PvEers exist. So you do need both. You need that healthy dose of both.
Yeah, the best servers we've seen have a good dose of both. Yeah, like the best servers we've seen in the past absolutely do.
I mean, look at Themi. That was one of the biggest issues with that, was that it was only PvP. And it's like, we saw what New World looks like when it's only, you take the best of the best, only PvP, for lack of a better term, a lot of warloggers, and you put them on one server, and it lasted like 7 days.
Yeah, it was about a week.
11 days.
Yeah, it was about a week.
Yeah.
The wars were banging, but the reality is, like the reality of the situation is you absolutely need the PvE in this game, and it's like, you need the PvEers in this game as well. You can't just rely on the PvP, and to your point too, PvEers need PvPers as well. And also, I mean, how sucky would that be if I was a PvE player and let's say I wanted to have some fun, maybe I wanted to go to an OPR, you know what I mean, and like, you know what, let's group up with a couple of my squad and let's just have some fun and just run to an OPR, and where the PvPers at, like nobody's out there, nobody's in the queue. It's like, well, that would kind of suck. You don't want to ruin both parts of the game. So it does feel like the New World is focusing a little bit more on PvE though. Would you agree to that? Or like, yeah, I think they are, but I also think that's okay. Selfishly, I would like a little more attention towards the PvP, just to kind of make sure, like, I don't know, abilities work, would be like ideal. But I get it. Like, I get that I'm playing a different game than 99.9% of the people who are playing New World. Like, I and most people who are in these like high-end wars, we're just not playing the same game. And it's not like one is better than the other, but AGS has to cater to like the PvE community, because that's the majority.
meat and potatoes of this war, of this game. So they need to, and it's hard. It's easier said than done to find that perfect balance too. So
yeah, for sure. I do feel like AGS kind of has their hands tied too sometimes. Like, not, and I, you know, not to just sit here and sympathize for AGS, but at the same time, like sometimes when you do these balances for weapons and things like that, like you're thinking about so many different fucking ways it impacts the game, right? Like you're thinking, oh, PvE, and then you got to think of OPR, then you got to think, well, what about wars? What about dueling? What about arenas? You know, there's a lot of like avenues, the way in which just changing one weapon can affect multiple facets of the game, which I think is very interesting, you know?
Oh yeah.
And what I do want to get,
sure.
what's your opinion on musket?
On musket, I think they should bring back the AK-47 version of it from like a week ago. Just buff it.
Just buff it up and just make it go, dude. I agree with that, dude. That was pretty fun. No, it is unfortunate though, some of the bugs and stuff that happen in the game. But you know, as I say, it is what it is. I think a lot of people do hate the musket. A lot of people want the musket to be deleted for sure.
Yeah, it's too far in this game to delete it, honestly. But it does feel like the odd man out when you look at all the weapons. When it's like, I don't know, swords and hammers and hatchets and even like gauntlets, and then it's just like a hit scan weapon from 300 meters. Like, it just kind of like just doesn't make. I mean, I'm fine with musket. I don't think it's too insane, but it does feel like the black sheep of the family when you're looking at all the weapons. Like this one just kind of doesn't fit really.
Yeah, it almost feels like there's no real like direct counter, where sometimes you can run some builds and you can see like certain abilities just, you know, pooping on the other builds here. It's like musket. It's like, you know, what else can really challenge a musket at that distance? Like, I mean, I guess
other muskets.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could block. It's like, it's not going to work. Like, you know, it's so weird. Just the weapons in general is super weird. But yeah,
it's just tough. It's a hard weapon it's an impossible weapon to balance, to be honest. Because right now it's like it's in a fine place, but they buff it a little bit, poof, you're gonna hear a lot more complaints. And then if they nerf it, they're gonna make it completely worthless. So it's very, very hard to find that balance because you're implementing a hit scan weapon in a game that has no other hit scan weapons.
That is pretty much primarily melee, you know. I mean, I guess it's primarily melee and like, you know, some casting and stuff, but yeah, it is definitely super weird. But to get back to the wars, man, I guess not even wars. I guess Orifina as a server, because I do want to talk a little bit more about Orifina. Obviously, I have my tier rankings. I kind of want to get your idea of who do you think is the top 5 companies in Orifina in order, if you could. What's your top 5 companies?
Top 5. In order, I mean, I'm gonna put us at the top just because I kind of have to. No,
I don't think that's. I mean, I don't think that's even necessarily egoing.
I think we're right there at the top. Honestly, I would probably put West Bench too. It's not like they weren't close to winning tonight. Yeah, I mean, let's go Horizon 1. Let's go West Bench 2. Let's go Blokes 3. Cosmic 4, Downfall 5, but with an honorable mention to Riposte, and just because they're new and like they could be incredible, they could be horrible. I have no idea, but like maybe they're the worst players in the world, maybe they're the best player in the world, maybe they 10-minute us and they just destroy us, so they could be number 1. But I just don't know enough about them to. I think it'd be unfair to put them in a top 5.
Yeah,
Did I miss somebody?
I don't know.
Let me look at the map.
No. Hey, look, I kind of.
What did I miss?
I don't know. I kind of feel like that's not necessarily a bad list. I mean, we've seen Downfall starting to do pretty well. Like, I think Downfall's starting to do pretty good. I mean, people are saying Min-X is.
I mean, they're better than Men-X.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Min-X right now has been pretty vocal about struggling with rostering.
Yeah, I mean, that's Men-X's like thing is they just don't have enough people.
Yeah,
like the individuals in Men-X, I think, are solid. Well, okay, all right. I think truthfully, we got to just split Horizon because there's Horizon Soul and there's Horizon Luna.
Oh, okay.
So I think both are just going top 5.
Oh, okay.
So got to kick somebody out.
So Downfall taking the other. So yeah, right. Look, Horizon hold 1 and 2. You know, but it's pretty cool.
We're trying.
Do you? Because I just want to know. Obviously, you guys. When I talk to you guys are a lot more in the shit than I am. Again, I'm more of an outside perspective. Do you think because like I said, I'm bringing up my list because obviously that's something that was kind of a hot button, at least for me personally. Do you think me putting Cosmic at B was troll, or do you think that because like a lot of people were mad about that, like, do you think me putting Cosmic at B or troll, or what do you think about them as of recently too? Obviously I don't want to sit here and just I'm not trying to bait like some kind of like some mean response to Cosmic, but the reality of the situation is they're a big company on your server and you fight these guys, you know what I mean? Like that's just the reality, so it's like what's your opinion on Cosmic right now? Because it looks like they're kind of in a slight slump, like they're trying to bounce back.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the opposite. I don't think you're gonna get anything negative on me about Cosmic. I think Cosmic is better than people think they are. I understand that they may not be as good as they were 2 weeks ago. Like they're on a little bit of a downslide, but in general, I think the tiering is tough because like you have to draw the line somewhere. So I don't think it was like an unfair tiering necessarily, but I do definitely think they're better than people think. I mean, just the other night they were attacking blokes. They had it at 99% influence on C point for 15 straight seconds. And then they lost it. And
I remember that too. That was such a tragedy, bro.
Yeah. At the 21-minute mark, they had it at 99% for 15 straight seconds. And then they lost it. And then they ended up going down. They got into the fort, I think, like 8 or so minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like when you look at the war as a whole, you're like, Cosmic didn't do great against them. Like, but if one kill goes differently, they get in the fort with 21 minutes left.
And they have a whole lot of time to really mess with it.
Let's say they don't even win it though. Like let's just say they stall out in the fort and don't take it. Everyone views Cosmic differently. So it's like, are we gonna let a single kill be like, Cosmic sucks? Where if they got that one kill and took the point, we're like, oh, Cosmic's great. So I actually do think they're a lot better than people probably give them credit for right now. So yeah, I mean, I think B is fine just because you have to draw the line somewhere, but them being up in A, I think would have been also totally fine.
For sure. Yeah, well, and to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I actually really, I actually got a lot of love from Cosmic. Obviously, some people were like, "B, come on, bro," but in general, like I've never really had like anybody from Cosmic flame me. I've never had, things like that. Like I think for the most part, the people who have, the conversations I've had and the people I've talked to from Cosmic have been pretty dope. I think the people are pretty nice over there.
The supple placement though, Willy.
The supple placement, look.
I don't think we can go past the tier list without. I'll bring up the supple tier list.
Look, Gladsworth, I own up to the fact that I put supple on C straight. Just because I wanted to light a fire in Supple's ass. Like, I'm not kidding. I even said it after. I'm like, cause like, dude, I see Boogaflu getting active. I see dropouts getting active. And I'm like, I'm over here, I'm searching, dude. I'm like, yo, like, I'm sending out the bat signal. I'm like, yo, Supple are like, they're insane. I want to see these guys warn these dudes. And it's like, it took like a whole week before Supple pushed anything. I'm like, I need to see these boys getting active. So yeah, I mean, for sure. Supple, I even said, Supple absolutely is like at an A tier company. Like these guys are very good. It's just more or less like, I want to see them get a little more active, But I've been catching Supple for a while, and it's all love, It's also kind of a bit of a meme for me because suck Fupple, but also, dude, Supple's been at the number one on my damn tier list in power rankings. Literally, like, bro, since they were formed, it was Supple. So I had to troll them a little bit. But you're right, you're right, dude, for sure. If I could run that back, I definitely would place them higher.
That's the only one I disagreed with for for the most part. Like, you can tweak some things here and there, sure.
Oh, trust me, you weren't the only one. As long as
it was like a little troll, we're good.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. A lot of people were like, Willy, what the fuck? But yeah, I just wanted to try and see them get active a little bit more. But obviously they have, they definitely have. So they did kind of lose. They did lose an attack to Boogaflu though. Boogaflu looking pretty damn strong over there.
It was really good too.
Yeah, for sure. Who's your if outside of Orth Fina, what's kind of the company that you're like, damn, I kind of want to learn a little bit more from? You know what I mean? Like, what's something like, dude, these guys play interesting as fuck. Because you peg me as the guy who is like, when you watch a company, you're not just like wins or loss. You're like, what's this roster
Yeah.
doing? You know, like
Oh, yeah.
what's the formation? Like, what do they got going on? Like, who's a company that stands out to you that kind of like, you know, switches the game up a little bit, in your opinion?
Yeah, I definitely don't care about the results. I'm a very big process over results guy. Uh, I mean, the company right now, I mean, it's probably Dropouts,
Yeah.
and not necessarily just because they're probably like widely known as the best, but they also play differently than we do. And so that's probably the one that I'm learning from the most, just because like I think our comp and style is great. It's obviously been fantastic and does well, but they're also doing something that is they're excelling and doing an amazing job at. So
Yeah.
I think they're probably the one company that I have tried to just watch a little bit more VODs like outside of Orfino of them. And again, not because they're like winning or the best. Like I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
Say if they were losing to Supple and Boogaflu every once in a while, that's fine. Our comps are just more similar to Supple and Boogaflu. So it's like I feel like I have a little bit more to learn from Dropouts because they do things differently than us. I mean, their comm style is different. I mean, their Kilosh and like I was saying earlier, like our main comps are drastically different, but then also like the way they set up their micro comps is also different. The way their comp they run is different. The way they attack forts is different than us. So it's like not necessarily that one thing is better than the other, but they do things the most differently. So I think if I were ignoring that, that would be me not doing my job. Like I think my job is to see what they're doing.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I imagine a war between like, because obviously I talked to you and Kilosh at this point, and have you know extended conversations, you know, podcast style, and I just imagine, dude, me too. I just imagine like if you and Dropouts fought, like you have like Kilosh and his squad. There's just a bunch of like jacked like angry like foaming out the mouth guys, and like you guys are like these like Shaolin monks. You know what I mean? Like Horizon is like focused. The energy, like like focused up here. It's like I feel like that would be just like a fun battle of the ages.
Like a mic'd up would be fun. Like being able to hop back and forth between like my comms to Kilosh's comms would be really fun if you're fighting each other because it'd just be so different.
Oh
which
yeah,
would be
absolutely.
Cool
Yeah, and that's something I need to implement on my stream too, dude. Like I would love to kind of, as long as like I can get, like I've talked about it in the past. The only reason I haven't really done it is because like I have that fear, right, of being of hopping and streaming and that one guy who's like, this is my opportunity, and it's like I would just hate to get caught lacking, something gets slipped up, and I'm in I get in hot water or something.
It's probably not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. But like, man, that would be cool as hell. But obviously, I'm always thinking of like cool ass things we can do.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, it is pretty cool. Dropouts obviously like a standout company right now, and it's crazy to see the the trajectory of everything, and just the people that have been here. Yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. So I guess I will say, I guess we can kind of get into a little bit of the community questions. If anybody has a community question, I know we put it in the Discord here, but I am curious, just pop it in the chat too if you guys have any questions for Glad. One thing I haven't seen pop up, Glad, is a piano. What is this that I'm hearing about the piano?
All right. So this is back on City of Brass. I was part of a company, Raindrops. We owned Everfall, and I was in a couple wars, not like Raindrops wars, but we were attacking Ebonscale, and we lost a couple times. And I wanted to send like a Raindrops attack at some point, but we just didn't. We just never really got around to it. And one of the wars we lost, it was, I guess, like a random green company. I don't really know who, and we attacked. And it was so frustrating. And I disagreed with so many of the things that had happened in the war that no offense to them, whoever's like people who are calling, whatever. But so I was streaming back then. And after the war, I was just upset. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to just VOD review this. And so I VOD reviewed right then. And I just stayed on stream and I just started talking about the war. And I broke down everything, my thoughts internally, externally. I talked about my play, my group's play, the army's plays, things I liked, things I didn't like. And it was the only time that I've ever streamed where my viewership went up after a war. And
Oh
it
yeah,
was
that's rare.
so much fun. Oh yeah, it didn't make any sense. But so many people were from the. It's like a obviously City Brass was smaller. It was probably
Yeah.
600-700 people, and a bunch of people tuned in. And we were just having fun with it. I mean, I was just unfiltered, hearing my thoughts. Like obviously was just going and saying everything, things I just hard disagreed with, and I had a piano in my background,
Okay.
and it came out that I just got caught up in the moment, and I said, "Screw it!" I said, "Whenever we take Ebonscale, I said I promise I'll like play the piano." And I didn't know how to play the piano. That was like kind of the whole thing was I had it there because I wanted to learn. Like everybody just has 1,000 things. You want to learn
Yeah, of
languages,
course.
pianos, whatever. And I had it there to try to help me learn, and I just never played it. And so I said, "Fine, screw it. If we take Ebonscale, I will play the piano on stream." And I was like, I'll have to just learn it. And after I said it, right after I said it, I was like, I shouldn't have made that promise because now I just have to learn a whole instrument just for this stupid game.
Now people are like, so when you learning that piano, dude?
Yeah. And then we, like, I don't even know, 2 weeks later, it comes out, we're getting merged into Castle of Steel. And so we never actually attacked Ebonscale, like we never had the chance to. And then City of Brass is dead. And so I keep saying that as soon as they bring back City of Brass, and if we win Ebonscale, I'll play the piano. But the deal was a City of Brass only deal. So that is, so yeah, people want to, they joke about the piano thing. But until they open it back up.
Hey,
It's
look,
like,
I get it. So they're still waiting for the moment, dude.
Yep, they're holding out.
Hey, look, maybe
We'll
one
see.
day, man.
Maybe City Brass comes back.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe one day we can see it.
If they bring it back, I have to quit this game because I can't. I just can't.
That's the end. That's the end of Gladsworth's
Yeah, if they
career,
bring back
dude.
City Brass, I'm out.
City Brass coming back. Shit. Well, it's been a good run, boys.
Yep.
But
I can't learn the piano.
somebody else did say. Somebody asked in the Discord, and it's kind of similar question to what we saw. What I kind of asked Kelash, and I think a lot of people are interested in asking guys like you because you guys do so much managing of wars and players and rosters, and especially in the wars. But what's your 3 things that you look for in a I guess a war member, or you know what I mean, somebody in your roster? What's like 3 things that's like stand out, that's like this is what Gladsworth needs in this in this roster, or as in this person, I guess.
Yeah, so I think it changes drastically based on the role they play, and I'm happy to go through each role with it too because I think it's entirely different. With melee, I guess for 3 things for melee would be their dueling ability. It definitely does not mean everything, but at the end of the day, people who are better duelers tend to just be better mechanically at the game. Now, it doesn't mean I'll take them over somebody else, but that's at least a head start, if you will. Then one of them for every single role is going to be their ability to like listen, and it's listening to their group, listening to me. So the reason obviously it's like everybody understands it's so important, but I don't think people realize just how important it is. At least for me, like I know our roster in and out. I know every single person's everything. And so when I say I need group 2 and group 3 to go here, I know exactly what comp I just sent. And that doesn't happen on accident. Like this is done everything is done with intention. And so when I send 2 groups over, I know exactly it's going to be this many of this weapon, this many of this weapon, whatever. But if 2 of the people don't listen and don't go, that changes everything. Like, because say for a fort, if I want someone to like go ice wall a door and that person doesn't listen, the entire like scenario is just different. So the listening, like, I know this is just for the melee part, but the listening is going to go for everywhere because it just does change literally everything.
Yeah.
The other one for melee is going to be probably just playing with your other melee. Like if it's 2 melee group, 3 melee group, whatever, it's just playing with and around your person. If like you watch a VOD and you're 50 meters from each other, it's like, I don't know, dude, figure it out.
I see that all the time, man. That's still one of the things, even when I'm casting, it's not even necessarily my POV, but I see that all the time and it tilts me beyond belief. Like people just going out on their solo missions. It's like, please, like, I don't know what's going on in the microcoms here, but like you got to play together. You're on a team for a reason. Like that's one of the most tilting things for me. Yeah, it just gets me, dude.
Yeah, you have to play with them. Well, I'll go through the others kind of quickly, but VG, number 1, we'll say listening for 1 of 3s. It's going to be a cop out answer for all of them. Second one is going to be comms. VGIG, I joke with this. VGIG is not a hard spec. It is the skill gap, like the skill ceiling and skill floor are basically touching. There's like no difference. The difference between the best VGs in the game and the worst are their comms. It is just strictly what it comes down to is you as a VG need to be unbelievably vocal because you are the one that is helping set things up.
Yeah, you're the
so
setup.
if you're not telling your melee everything that's going on with your gameplay, you're just another person who is just throwing orbs and oblivions randomly, and you're not actually helping your group a ton. So it's like comms by far number one for VGIG. You watch a VGI, you could watch 10 different VGIG VODs. I could tell you this is someone who thinks is incredible and someone who thinks is horrible, and you won't be able to tell as big of a difference as you would think, or at least in other builds. So it's comms, number one. Let's go listening. Next one.
I mean, maybe for me, for VGIG, one thing that sticks out to me is just looking for opportunistic plays. You know, like obviously you're the setup, but it's almost like, what are you setting up? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess it kind of goes hand in hand, but that's one of the biggest things for me from VG. Sometimes like, it's like, you know, being able to read the battlefield and know when is the time to set up, you know, not just going in like, I got this guys, and you know, you get an ice wall and a scream and it's like, you know, nobody's there.
No, I think it's a good one, and similar to that, it's like the third one for VGs is going to be ability usage with intention. A lot of people who you watch who run Void Gauntlet is like the war starts, brain turns off, and I just run around and like I throw an orb at the biggest clump. I scream a random clump, and it's like, dude, you're not doing anything. Like you're not every single ability, unless it is leading to a kill, distracting people, or burning abilities, is worthless, and you shouldn't do it. Yeah, every single one. For Void Gauntlet, it's the same thing.
Not to interrupt, but I just want to say, dude, I'm right there with you. I think the VGIG, they're the setup for the reason because like the abilities are OP as hell. Like the abilities are so good.
They're so good. They're so good, and that's why I can't stand watching VODs of people or streams and like they just throw an orb, and it's like, dude, you don't know what you're doing, and it's not a bad thing because it's like it's just you just kind of turn your brain off, and like you just don't think about what's going on, and it's like big clump, I'm gonna throw an orb. It's like, okay, but did that do anything, or like are you with your group at all?
Yeah, are you trying to help a clump die? You know, like what's the are you set? You know, I totally feel you there.
Yeah. So then to go bust through the other ones real quick, let's go healers. Number one is, well, not number one, not in random order, but I guess comms is another big one. Like just talk to your group, let them know what abilities you have, talk about your sacreds, where you're putting them. Next one's going to be stam management, is like a healer more than anything. It's obviously important for everybody, but healers, stam management, just don't gray bar. Like just don't. I've never like played Greatsword, but I know that that's like their favorite thing. If they just see a healer double dodge or something, gray bar themselves, you're dead. If you gray bar, you die. So it's like, just don't do that. Stand management. Next one is going to be positioning for healers, is just knowing where to sit, where to place, like where to find your pocket and hang out. Don't just float towards like the enemy decks. Dex, I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking for Dex. Dex is like if they're cheating or not. Is just like the number one thing, I guess.
Dex, are you a cheater or not? We can't have any cheaters in the company. Can't look bad.
No, yeah, I mean, definitely, yeah, I mean, we'll never do that. That would be insane.
What's your opinion on Thas on the server?
No, I'm kidding. What's that?
So what's your opinion on Thas on the server? No, okay, everybody just gets
I actually do have a couple opinions on Thas.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I actually do. There's a chance, I don't know, like I've never like seen anything of like him cheating, whatever. I've also never seen anything of him not cheating, but so I would never hard clear him. I do think he has kind of suffered from a case of like one or two things being said and then like people just regurgitating the same like word vomit, and
it's like a game of telephone where it's like he said one thing and then it turns into a whole mess of
And don't get me wrong, I'm not like clearing him or anything like that, but I just do think it's very like a reputation just kind of got wildly
Out
out of
of
control
control.
by people
Yeah.
just saying things.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just think it's funny because like anytime I go to an OPR or anything in my chat, like it's always like, oh, where's Thas? Like since I've been in Orofina,
Yeah.
that's been like I don't know, not to just talk about Thas here. I just thought it was
Yeah.
funny to bring up. So it is what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is. Thinking about it, but I do have another question coming in from the community, and it's something that I have seen. I don't know if it's troll or not, and that's why I want to ask you. Also, Yarp, thank you for the raid, dude. Love you, bro. But I do have a question. Some people have been saying that. I will say, when we first caught Horizon, you guys did have a bit of a hard time. Because at least whenever Egoed and them started making their way onto the server, I have seen multiple people say something about minus $15, things like that. I mean, real talk. Was there a lot of fly-ins? Was it people that was already, planning to make their way to Orofina anyway? How many pickups did you have? You know what I mean? Because like, I get that all the time. Like that always seems to be the first thing that people say about Horizon is like, oh, you guys had to fly people in to get, to get to the point where you're at. Which is fine if it is, I'm just kind of curious, you know what I mean? Like, I just want because you're obviously the gov of it. I want to hear your take on it.
Yeah, this is pretty much the exact thing that I was talking about earlier of like where I kind of had to change my mindset about 2 months ago of like when I realized that nobody actually knows what's happening. And it's like pretty much every single thing that's been said about Horizon in Discord's global year stream isn't like correct. And it's just not even true.
Yeah.
And so it got to me early, like months ago, where I was like, dude, like we're not flying anybody in. Like I'm not paying for anybody. Like I said earlier, I've literally never sent a DM to a single person to try to recruit them. Like people are out here trying to like poach and paying for transfers and actively DMing 35 people to get them to come sign up for the wars and stuff. It's like, dude, I've never sent a DM to try to get anybody to join any of my companies ever. And I never will because that's just not what I want to do. And so that part was a little frustrating early on because everyone's just wrong. And similar to the thing we were just saying with Fast, it's like a couple people say a couple things and they just go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day it was like, Hatchet and Hose declared on Brimstone, and like one person just started saying random shit about like Horizon was dodging West Bench because like we pushed it or whatever. And it's like one random person said it, which means 2 people said it, which means 10 people said it, and then that became the thing. And it's
then
like
global chat's going.
yeah, I mean, someone was saying in one of the wars that like one random person made a comment about Horizon hopping in their comms to like fuck with like their main comms, and it's like that's just not even close to true. But one person said it, which means 2 people said it, and 10 people said it. So no, it's like all of this stuff about like I don't even know minus $15 whatever. It's like no, I mean yes, we've grown, but like
I think that's natural. But like somebody said,
if you think I'm paying $15 for somebody to come join my company, like no, you don't get what's going on over here. So yeah, I've given up on listening to anybody about Horizon. It's like really kind of reinforced it's just like a Horizon versus the world at this point.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I don't care what people say. They're just wrong.
Yeah,
and
that's
sucks.
how it's got to be
annoying,
too, man. It's how it's got to be. You got to worry about yourself. You got to worry about your community and your company.
Yeah, I feel bad for our guys, which honestly is the hardest part because like
they get
I just
the
know how hard
of it.
It's like I know how hard they've worked. I know how hard I work, and it's like, dude, we put so much into this. Like we've grown, we've gotten so much better, and then when people just want to like discredit that because of just random, I mean, objectively just lies. That part kind of sucks. Yeah, it's like, dude, I wish they would just like ask me, and it's like I don't know. There's no reason for me to hide anything. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. No, I totally feel you because it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, it almost feels like your work's discredited. And that's never a good feeling. You don't want to feel like, hey, I put all this damn work into building up these absolute demons and then now it's just kind of getting discredited. I feel like it's natural to grow as a company though. Like, especially somebody brought it up in chat and I agree. Orofina was locked for a long ass time. And it's like, Orofina, once a server starts kind of getting popping like Orofina has, it's very natural. It's very natural for more people to just make their way onto the server and they're like, hey, what's going on in Orofina? Hey guys, hell, I'm on there now. I'm on Orofina now. So it's cool to see.
Good players want to play with other good players. I've said this before, and it's honestly for tonight too. Tonight's war is like, regardless of the outcome of tonight, my takeaway was going to be positive. Not in that like losing would have been fine and all like great, but it's such a respect thing. And I don't think everybody realizes this of like other companies. I don't want to say flying in because like that's like paying for people, whatever, but like
Yeah.
other companies flying people in, recruiting, whatever, to come fight against us, like that's not anything except for respect. That's all that is. Because if people actually thought like we were a bad company, they wouldn't come fight us. And
Yeah.
so it's like tonight it's happening. If we had lost, like it would have been fine because it's like, hell yeah, West Bench thinks we're so fucking good that they need to bring people in. That's a good thing. Like
Yeah.
whether they beat us or not, like, that doesn't matter. It's like, dude, that shows that we're there. Like we're at that level. And that's cool. Like that's such a positive to me. It's like people can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, good players don't transfer to fight bad players. That's
Yeah.
just not what good players do. So like if you want to talk shit, whatever, but you're transferring in to come fight us, which means you think we're good. So
Yeah.
I don't really care what you say about
Yeah,
that.
and to bring it full circle, I'm glad that I'm glad you brought that up because to be honest, I was even saying on stream that like a lot of people are like, oh, West Bench is losing Brimstone, West Bench is this and that. It's like, yo, they came to fight the Horizons, they came to fight the Cosmic Scales. It's like, and that's awesome. People really want to come in, and with Orofina looking the way it does, I can't blame them. It's a pretty poppin' server right now, and obviously Horizon, arguably the best there, and you leading that and stuff has been great. And obviously, like I said at the beginning, being a pillar in the community, just you being who you are and just leading these players, and obviously, look, even from the chat that I've seen, I've only heard people sing your praises, so it's awesome. It really is. So I guess it's
crazy how far not being an asshole will get you. So it's a pretty low bar, especially in this game. But like, if you're just not an asshole and like are semi open to people's thoughts and opinions, turns out it can go pretty far.
Yeah, and I think that's showing tonight. And obviously, just me and you talking, man. I mean, you sound like a great ass dude. I can't blame people for wanting to work with you, man, and wanting to do wars on that stuff. So I think it's awesome. But I'm gonna ask you, man, is there anything you want to say before we get done with the podcast here? I mean, I think it's been pretty great. It's been nice getting to know you a little bit more and kind of talking about all kinds of stuff. And I think you're very introspective, man. I think it's cool.
No, I appreciate that. No, I mean, this is fun. This is awesome. I love this. I'm obviously addicted to this game. I play it way too much. I did like nothing today. Don't tell my like boss, but I pretty much was like exclusively trying to figure out what to do with West Bench's like dive and deck stream. So
it's DJing time, baby. It's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, we had so many people out for like Christmas, and it's like just DMing the whole time. So no, I mean, this is fun. I love it. I'll talk about this stuff all day. Like I do, like honestly, we could do this another like 2 hours and I would still be totally fine with it.
To be fair, yeah, I have to cut myself off because like, dude, I honestly love, dude, I could talk about this game forever. Even from my perspective, whether people realize it or not, like, I think you need a certain level of passion in this game to kind of do the stuff that like, other people, the soldiers that you do, like you gotta love the game and love the process. And I think that's a big thing. It's very clear that you love that process and I
do. I also like, I mean, I just do like, I view the roster as like a chess match. Like it's kind of like me versus the other like roster maker. Like it's all done ahead of time. Like I love that, the strategy side of it, the ins and outs, like that's my coaching that I love. And I mean, I don't even like play this game even that much. Like people joke that I just stand on top of Everfall stairs, but like it's true. Like I just log in and I DM people and
You're doing something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Google sheet that has 18 tabs, and people make fun of me about it because everything is done in there. Like all our rosters, all of our comps, the enemies comps, like everything is done in there. So yeah, there's like this joke that like I log in, I stand on top of Everfall stairs. I'm standing at Everfall stairs literally right now, and I'm just on, and yeah, so that's what this game is for me now. I'm like done playing at this point. I just basically just try to do like the Horizon stuff now.
Yeah, well, hey, and that's a big part of the game, man. And I think that's cool. And I think a lot of people are going to get more of an insight on, your company and stuff like that after this. So I'm going to ask you, is there any shout outs that you want to give before we get out of here, man? Any shout outs to your company? Anybody you want to shout out before you get out of here, dude?
Nah, screw my company. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like shout out to honestly, like everybody in Horizon, seriously, just because of all the like work and effort we put in. Like and not everybody gets in wars, and that's frustrating. But like, shout out to all the people that are still like hanging around. They're part of the community, like building that up. Shout out to people who are in the wars and are like demons at the game, and that are even putting us in this position to win these type of wars. Like, these are the literal best in the world. Like, I understand New World isn't this million player base like game, but it's a game that we are competing at the literal top percent, like top 1%, and that's awesome. So like, shout out to them, everybody. They've done so much, which is cool. And then shout out to everybody who's just like not toxic and able to have conversations. Like, I've met so many really cool people in this game, which is awesome. I've met a lot of people who are the worst, like, human beings ever, and that sucks. But so not a shout out to them, but like, shout out to literally everybody else for being able to, I don't know, have a good conversation, understand this game. Healthy competition is incredible, and it's what this game is about. And you'll never see any like toxic bullshit from me. I really hope you don't see it from people in our company. I try to limit that as much as possible because it's a fun game. We all love it, and the best thing that we can do is, like, I don't know, just keep having a healthy environment. And that's the only, I mean, realistically, it's the only way this is going to like keep going is if
for sure
it's a community. Stays healthy. And not every company, I guess, like abides by that.
Yeah. Hey, it's how it goes. But Gladsworth, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. And guys, look, big rounds of applause for Gladsworth here. Much love, Gladsworth. It has been amazing. I just want to thank you again for coming on here. And I do want to point out to the chat, to people on YouTube, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, don't forget, like, subscribe, do your thing. And in chat, I hope you guys had a fun time here. We got to meet Gladsworth a little bit. We got to talk about Horizon Wars, all that good stuff. And obviously, it was a good time. So thank you guys so much for being a part of it. New World is a community, and we're trying to make that happen, make that bigger every single day. So much love, guys. Gladsworth, it's been fun. You have a fantastic night, brother.
Thank you, Willie. You as well. I appreciate having me on, and everyone here hanging out. This is awesome. And if you ever want to talk about this game or message me or have questions, I'd be happy to talk through it. It'd be awesome. So
hey, the DMs are open. Hey, you have a fantastic night, man.
All right, I'll see you guys.